Howdy, and once again out of the blue, I make a video. There is some earthquake activity. We are watching at 7 days earthquake activity off the Strait of Gibraltar. And this one was the heaviest quake. Yesterday, 4.8, 36 kilometers in depth, and there is even a user report. Not felt. Okay. So, there has been some talk about the Ampere seamount, which is here. But obviously, up here is also something going on, since we had a rather strong quake there yesterday. We are off the coast of Portugal, Spain, Africa, and the Azores are to the left. In 1755 has been a quake in Lisbon. The 1755 Lisbon earthquake, also known as the Great Lisbon Earthquake, impacted Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula, and northwest Africa on the morning of Saturday, 1st November. 267 years and 7 days ago. Feast of All Saints are around 9:40 local time in combination with subsequent fires and a tsunami. The earthquake almost completely destroyed Lisbon and adjoining regions. Seismologists estimate the Lisbon earthquake had a magnitude of 7.7 or greater on the moment magnitude scale, with its epicenter in the Atlantic Ocean, about 200 kilometers west-southwest of Cape Saint Vincent and 290 kilometers southwest of Lisbon. Chronologically, it was the third known large-scale earthquake to hit the city, following those of 1321 and 1531. Estimates place the death toll in Lisbon between 12,000 and 50,000 people, making it one of the deadliest earthquakes in history. The earthquake accentuated political tensions in Portugal and profoundly disrupted the Portuguese Empire. The event was widely discussed and dwelt upon by European Enlightenment philosophers and inspired major development in theodicy, as the first quake studied scientifically for its effects over a large area. It led to the birth of modern seismology and earthquake engineering. So I think that's the Ampere seamount, and this is the other mountain range we just watched. Earthquake and tsunami. The earthquake struck on morning 1st November 1755, All Saints' Day. Contemporary reports state that the earthquake lasted from 3.5 to 6 minutes, causing fissures 5 meters, 16 feet wide in the city center. Survivors rushed to the open space of the docks for safety and watched as the sea receded, revealing a plain of mud littered with lost cargo and shipwrecks. Approximately 40 minutes after the quake, a tsunami engulfed the harbor and downtown area, rushing up to Tagus River so fast that several people riding on horseback were forced to gallop as fast as possible to the upper grounds for fear of being carried away. It was followed by 2 more waves. Candles lit in homes and churches all over the city for All Saints' Day were knocked over, starting a fire that developed into a firestorm which burned for hours in the city, asphyxiating people up to 30 meters from the blaze. Lisbon was not the only Portuguese city affected by the catastrophe. Throughout the south of the country, in particular the Algarve, deconstruction was rampant. The tsunami destroyed some coastal fortresses in the Algarve and at lower levels. It razed several houses. Almost all the coastal towns and villages of the Algarve were heavily damaged except Faro, which was protected by the sandy banks of Rio Formoso. In Lagos, the waves reached the top of the city walls. Other towns in different Portuguese regions, such as the Peniche, Cascais, and even Coruña, which is located near the Sierra de Estrela mountain range in central inland Portugal, were visibly affected by the quake. The tsunami, or both of them, the shock waves of the earthquake destroyed part of Covilhas castle walls and its large towers and damaged several other buildings in the Cova de Bera, as well as Salamanca, Spain. On the island Madeira, Funchal, and many smaller settlements suffered significant damage. Almost all of the ports of the Azores archipelago suffered most of their destruction from the tsunami, with the sea penetrating about 150 meters inland. Portuguese towns in North Africa were also affected by the quake, such as Ceuta Mazagon, where the tsunami hit hard the coastal fortifications on both towns, in some cases going over it and flooding the harbor area. In Spain, the tsunami swept the Andalusian and Atlantic coast, nearly destroying the city of Cadiz. Shocks from the earthquake were felt throughout Europe, as far as Finland and North Africa, and according to some sources, even in Greenland and the Caribbean. Tsunamis as tall as 20 meters, 66 feet, swept along the coast of North Africa and struck Martinique and Barbados across the Atlantic Ocean. A 3-meter tsunami hit Cornwall on the southern British coast. Galloway on the west coast of Ireland was also hit, resulting in partial destruction of the Spanish Arc section of the city wall. In County Clare, Gorringe Island was created when a low-lying connection to the mainland was washed away. At Kinsale, several vessels were whirled around in the harbor and water poured into the marketplace. In 2015, it was determined that the tsunami waves may have reached the coast of Brazil, then the colony of Portugal. Letters sent by Brazilian authorities at the time of the earthquake described damages and destruction caused by gigantic waves. Although seismologists and geologists have always agreed that the epicenter was in the Atlantic to the west of the Iberian Peninsula, its exact location has been subject of considerable debate. Early hypotheses had proposed that the Gorringe Ridge, about 320 kilometers southwest of Lisbon, until simulations showed that a location closer to the shore of Portugal was required to comply with the observed effects of the tsunami. So here we have the Ampere Seamount, which I've been talking about yesterday. And here we have the Gorringe Ridge, Ormond Seamount, Gettysburg. And they are said it has been closer to the shore, so it must have been somewhere here, I guess. Which would bring us from here, somewhere here, probably, where we have somehow more activity despite it's not that strong. It might be even more north, I don't know. Until simulations showed that the location closer to the shore of Portugal was required to comply with the observed effects of the tsunami, a 1992 seismic reflection survey of the ocean floor along the Azores-Gibraltar transform fault detected a 50-kilometer long thrust fault southwest of Cape St. Vincent with a dip-slip throw of more than 1 kilometer. The structure may have created a primary tectonic event. Effect on society and economy and philosophy. The earthquake had wide-ranging effects on the lives of the populace and intelligentsia. The earthquake had struck on an important religious holiday and had destroyed almost every important church in the city, causing anxiety and confusion amongst the citizens of a staunch and devout Roman Catholic country. Theologians and philosophers focused and speculated on the religious cause and message, seeing the earthquake as a manifestation of divine judgment. Philosophy. The earthquake and its aftermath strongly influenced the intelligentsia of the European Age of Enlightenment. Maybe we need another earthquake to start a new age of enlightenment. I don't wish for it, but it would be cool if there wouldn't be needed an earthquake or some other natural stuff in order to wake people up. But anyway, the noted writer, philosopher Voltaire used the earthquake in Candide and in his poem Sur les désastres de Lisbonne, poem of the Lisbon disaster. Voltaire's Candide attacks the notion that all is for the best in this, the best of all possible worlds, a world closely supervised by a benevolent deity. Yeah, I just read this because I'm not into reading today. Obviously, Immanuel Kant published 3 separate texts in 1756 on the Lisbon earthquake. As a younger man fascinated with the quake, he collected all the information available in news pamphlets and formulated the theory of the cause of earthquakes. Kant's theory, which involved shifts in huge caverns filled with hot gases, though inaccurate, was one of the first systematic attempts to explain earthquakes in natural rather than supernatural terms. According to Walter Benjamin, Kant's slim early book on the earthquake probably represents the first beginnings of scientific geography in Germany, and certainly the beginnings of seismology. So since I think everyone has seen the tsunami animations which could happen from La Palma, which isn't too far away from there, there is also this tsunami forecast model animation, 8.5 magnitude earthquake, which is significantly higher than this 7.7 what they said. From NOAA, let's have a look at that. So, yeah, actually, I missed the button, so I have no idea where I stop talking or where I continue. But we have quite much action going on there in the region, so we have to keep an eye on that. There is also this other hotspot. Is it Tunisia? Where we have, since many weeks, quite much activity. And that's a rather important place, the Strait of Gibraltar. I think there is a ship or two passing there, bringing goods to people. But anyway, I think I leave it here. Messed up with the button, so maybe there might be a very distractful jump in this video from one point to another, but what to do? Thanks.